Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 5.8G Alive, brought to you by Connections 50 Plus. My name is Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, and I'm one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus. And with me, as usual, my friend.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus.
Yes. So, Jennifer, last week we realized we were in the first quarter of the 21st century, and we are near the end of the year. All kinds of things are happening, Jennifer. Christmas is coming, Diwali is coming, Trinidad and Tobago got their budget. Our two great faiths, you have the Hindus prepared for Diwali, and Christians, well, in the Roman Catholic persuasion, winding down our Jubilee year, and we had our big festival of hope. And we're excited, aren't we?
Yes, I'm excited, actually. I thought this is, to me, I say, okay, the word for the week is hope. Because that attending the Jubilee celebrations I attended on Sunday. It was a week long. I attended on Sunday, and it was, really, really a beautiful day of celebration and prayers and as you said, we are the pilgrims of hope. Jubilee is our Jubilee, the Catholic Jubilee 2025. The theme is hope. And Terry-Ann, it was, so beautiful. I know you also attended. So that stayed with me, to the entire week as we started the week every day, as I pray, that theme comes up, hope and all that we can do to really get, in terms of our faith, get closer to God and do all the things that will just give us that joy, that peace, doing different things, outreach, helping others, building community, etc. So for me, it's not just a week. We have started right through, so I continue. But somehow after Sunday, I said, yes, hope is the word.
I thought it was, hope is relevant. And what struck me about it, and it's something, we are all such insular people. Everybody in their house with their family, with their children, and, they go to their job, and we all make nice cocoons that we live in. And it's so easy to cast responsibility elsewhere and outside, and you very often hear people, oh, what is the church doing about this, and what is the church doing about that, and religious leaders supposed to this, and religious leaders supposed to that. And there is always someone to blame. And there you had it on the weekend. The Roman Catholic Church spread out for everybody to see how many different organizations, elements, groups, support, activities, how well structured the institution is for the willing to step in and be able to do concrete work to resolve issues. Separate and apart from the press. Separate and apart from the press. For every issue that exist. As they say, the corporal works of mercy, give water to the thirsty, feed the hungry, feed the naked, visit the sick, visit the imprisoned, and all those things. There is room for everyone to contribute and participate, no matter how small, but we are also taken up with our own selves that we either don't or refuse to see it. And that struck me. It struck me how really, really, really wonderful our faith is, our churches. And if we really can't say again, the church this, the church that, pointing fingers. The finger really had to be turned around and say, how can I step in and do? How can I step in and do? And that they did it in such a, and it's not only about problems, it's also how you could participate as lay people in faith, in every aspect, in just enriching your life. And it made me hopeful that, okay, there is something that anyone can do at any time. But as in all things where if change has to happen, it's really up to us to take step one. And I really think that they did a fantastic job, and that was open to everyone of all faiths to participate and join in. I too thought it was a beautiful, beautiful, hopeful event. I really, I enjoyed being there. Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, you know. And then Jennifer, we had our budget. Trinidad and Tobago
So
budget.
I think that, as I said, that hope stayed with me even during the budget. I listen to the budget. I listen to the economists and the different panels. Well, I paid more attention to one particular panel where I sat down and followed the entire talks on it. I listened to some of the views of the man in the street, as they say. And again, I thought, from listening in and say, I asked myself, I'm hearing hope. I don't know. I was really influenced by that Jubilee on Sunday. So yes, and what I did though, Terry-Ann, because I really thought would be nice for us to discuss or chat on hope. And being aware of the team, our Catholic team, and what we as Catholics commit to doing during this period, during Jubilee 2025, I thought let us look at different angles. And I want to just start our discussion with a quote that I thought was very apt to the discussion now. And this is the quote from Desmond Tutu. And it says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. And again, I said, Diwali is just a couple of days away. And that light over darkness reminded me, of course, of Diwali and the celebration by the Hindus, about light over darkness. So I thought, yeah, we could chat on that and see how it relates to the different aspects of our lives, how it relates to us just the festivities, how it relates to the elections, what we're going through right now, the different feelings people may have, and how we can move ahead with light and being more enlightened, about the things that we should do if we should make any changes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think, is it a question, should we make changes? If we are to be hopeful people, is change optional if we are to be hopeful people?
For me, I would say yes. Any change, you have to move on. You have to look at what is happening around you because it's changing. Is a globalization. We just a lot of things happening around us, locally and internationally. And any decision, the decisions that will affect our lives, we have to change. We have to take action, and we can't just sit back and what and let other people do the things for us. No.
But I think that is what many people, I think that is where many people want to be and are. And that is why, in spite of so many messages to be hopeful, which is you have Diwali coming up, you have the Christian Jubilee, you have the message of, all right, you had a whole election in Trinidad where the people collectively take up one party, throw them out and bring in another one, and then you have a budget. Um, but in spite of all that, in spite, and you have in every country in the world, you have things are changing. In spite of all that, I think that most people think that they are accepted from that requirement to change. But yet they stay hopeful that things will work out in their interest. As they say, the light is down there. And somehow I will get out of the darkness and get into that light. But the status quo remains.
Ariane, it is, and you're quite right. You're quite right with that. Um, I want to think too. I'm trying to say what is. I'm looking for the reason why. The reason why some people believe that okay, they're in darkness and somebody just come and flip the switch and you okay, without them having to do anything. And that may be because of, and there have to be something to do with your grounding, you know, that you were never maybe given the responsibilities to do things. You never had to be responsible for any sort of thing. You never had to make decisions on your own. You were never, shown the as I say, given steps, help you take action. It have some people prefer sit back and they don't even want to know. They're not interested, in terms of what's happening around them. They take no interest in things around them. But yet they expect to benefit from what's happening. Hope may be a word just being bandied about without people really understanding what it is to have hope. And I think having hope for me is faith also. Faith, sorry. Yeah. I don't think you could be hopeful if you don't have faith. And this is where the spirituality comes in. You have to have that faith, you have to have that belief that whatever action you're taking, and that is why you have to take action, whatever action you're taking is going to work for you. The end result, you'll be light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. The only thing is, Jennifer, I think that it doesn't work for a lot of people because they don't identify the light carefully, you know.
Well, that is
Because if you don't identify that light, that light can be hellfire in front of you. And
you know,
yes.
you know, we spoke about a bit about that last week, you know, that and this is where the part of hope when we talk about faith. Faith to take action on anything, you have to reflect on on your state of being. Where are you now? What is happening? What's happening around you? We spoke before of being realistic. You know, wanting to gain more knowledge. If you don't have that knowledge, if you don't want to get out there and find out things, and when we say knowledge, we spoke about that. We're not sending you to go to university or go to
Not
any,
social media influencers
not, it's not that.
and
Again,
YouTube reels.
social media, they tend to just go with what is being said by these so-called influencers, and they're not fact checking anything, you know. So and let me bring this back to the budget. And you know, actually you will hear from when they question, you know, persons on the street as to what they think about it. And you hear some the responses and you say, boy, where they living, who they listening to? You know, you don't have your own personal opinion. Why are you repeating what somebody else saying? You know, and think that that is, it has to be so. So I have found that, yeah, I agree. Many people tend not to get the facts right, to fact check information, to think this is how I feel and this is why I feel like that, and check it out, as against just going along and expect things to work out for you. So we have to, having hope is also changing your mindset. If your mindset is not a positive one, it also means to me not being lazy. And when I said not being lazy, not just sitting back and have someone else doing the work for you, have the influencer tell you what to do, and not really reading for yourself, analyzing and recognizing that your situation could be very different or is very different to your friend or your neighbors. So you have to look at that. So being hopeful to me calls for you being very resilient, for
Another
you read.
responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. Why? I mean, hope is not something they may just say, I wish this and I wish that. But it's how you interpret hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so important because, you know, whether you're talking about how hard is my life, and all right, let's take an element from the budget. And this refers to everybody. They raise the contributions for NIS, the national insurance. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the national insurance scheme is going to bust if contributions don't increase or more people contribute to the pool. Everybody knows that. And for us, 5.8G, especially those who turn 60 and getting the 3,000 plus every month, you sit back, cross your legs, and say, oh, this is fine, without realizing if those young people don't contribute at a higher rate, our pensions are going to stop. So even in the face of all of that, we still object to any increase, which, it comes back to the point that you're making. Where are you? Where is your analysis coming from? What are you looking at? Are you just parroting a view, left or right, up, down, in or out? Or are you thinking that earlier you talked about people being unwilling to make decisions and things like that? I think another problem we have is that too many of us have forgotten and have not taught our children sacrifice. So that it's not only that you expect somebody to do something for you, it's that you don't know how to give up something now to get something later. You don't know that. And hope then in the context of a person who doesn't understand sacrifice means that somebody go fix this. That doesn't refer to me. They're not doing that to me. That is for them. That is not for me, And but when we get to, we've talked about who influences us and all kinds of things like that. And I want to get back to the definition of hope, and I want to take it from a faith-based perspective. And you're right. If we say that definition by Desmond Tutu, could you repeat it?
It says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness.
Yeah. And if we are faithful people, and it doesn't matter what is your faith is, it is not any light. The light that you must be following and influenced by is a light that must be true. For us, Roman Catholics, that light is Jesus Christ. For Hindus, they might have another name. For people following Islam, Allah. People following Buddhism. But there is a definite truth that is foundational, that is not dependent on a side of an argument or a group that you're following and stuff like that. And to be truly hopeful and to be in a period of darkness, despondency, and so on, I understand the reason that I am hopeful when things seem like it's crazy is because that light contains the God that I worship. It is not an arbitrary light. It isn't the headlight of a fancy car. It isn't the light coming from a window in a fancy house. It isn't a light that is a spotlight with me on a stage. You can have all kind of light confusing you, You can have all kind of light confusing you. But I think if we understand that directional light is absolute and it comes from whatever your core belief about your faith is not your belief about politics or economics or your neighbor, or it's not a kind of belief at all. It is about your faith. Then, because you know what is in that light, you then get the strength, which is your hopefulness, to begin to move towards it. But I think a lot of us, even if we know what that light is, we sit down and cross our legs and say, well, it will come just now. And that is putting us in so much danger. It isn't funny.
So saying hope, looking to interpret what hope is different it seems that some people interpret hope differently. But when you look at, I also checked in terms of definition of hope. I didn't have the I didn't write out the definition, but I have here, okay, I shouldn't say that. In defining hope, and let me see what is here. Say, hope is the confident expectations that things can improve even when circumstances seem difficult. And I think that is really how we should all look at it. All right? That if you want things to improve, you want your life to be better. You want your family life to be better, your work life to be better. You want to have, build your spirituality. So if we first have to again know what we want, where
That's
we want to
dangerous.
shine.
That's dangerous because we have to know where the desire is coming from. It could be coming from a bad place.
So okay, the darkness there, where we shine in that light? Where are we shining that light? And because you want whatever circumstances, whatever situation you're in, you want it to be different. Okay? And if you want it to be different, again we're going back then, Terry, and you can't just sit back. If you want things to improve, if you want and going again, just referring to the budget. And they ask the question, what do you want? And everybody, we wish for this. We don't want to pay more taxes. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. What we want to just get more money, get a good job, get more money, and that sort of thing. It's not like that. We should be more, look at the situation, be more specific that the on the as to the type of results we want, and then we would know what we have to do. We have to contribute. We have to get out there and do something to make a difference, to make that change, the change that we want. And if it means we can't just sit back and say, and I'm just moving away from your point with having faith, which I totally believe in, and that is the spirituality aspect of it. But on the other aspect of it, on everyday life, we sit back and we said, okay, we don't want to pay more taxes. You made reference to like NIS, especially in our case. Yeah, because we need the money. So we want our retirement income to continue one way all the time because that's what we work for. But we're not thinking that how we reach this stage, others have to continue helping, and that is how it works. So we have to do something to make a difference. And what can we do? So those in the workplace, yes, they have to continue working. We then have to see what it is we can do to stretch the dollars that we have. You understand? To make best use of it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to look at the economy and say, what part are we playing? Can we do anything about it? But Terry, and I sense that we don't delve too deeply into what we have to do. We, on the surface, we just say, okay, we live in. Let them do the work. Let the government do the work. Let the church do the work. Let everybody else do work for us. And we can sit back and enjoy.
I still come back to, even if we sit back, we have to be careful about who are we handing over responsibility to. Because once you sit back and you say, somebody going to do it. The church go find me. Government go do it. My friends will do it. I'll get a rich husband or I'll get a rich wife. The neighborhood will clean up the neighborhood and I don't have to do nothing. They will clean in front by me.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful about who we hand in responsibility to because Jennifer, just as you said something, you know, life will improve. They will sort it out. But if you let they sort it out, then you saying they could choose how they want to sort it out. It comes like you have a problem with somebody and you go, you tell somebody else, I don't know, I want you to see about that for me. And next thing the person pick up a tricana or a gilpin or a gun or something and they go and see about it. And then you say, oh gosh, I didn't need to do that. Or you tell somebody something simple. Oh God, you choose now. I don't know what I'm feeling to eat. And they come back with a big box of fried chicken. And it's counted to every single one of your health challenges. You know, that handing over responsibility is critical. And when we say we are hopeful, it means that you are in darkness and you want to come to a brighter place. You must shift. You cannot remain. You cannot stay. Status quo is irrelevant. And once status quo is irrelevant and you have to switch, you have to think very, very carefully about the direction in which you are going to turn. That responsibility is ours. It cannot go anywhere else. And I think whether we look at Hindus preparing for Diwali, Christians dealing with the Festival of Hope, the government coming up with a budget, at the end of the day, you know, each one of us has the ultimate decision in terms of the economy about how I spend my money, how I spend my time, what I do, how I feed myself, how I contribute to or not. The responsibility is ours, and I agree with you. People are it's frightening that they give up that responsibility so easy. I might be a control freak about me and my future, but oh gosh.
You know, the other thing, Terry-Ann, I wonder if people that, you know, you say have hope, you have hope, we have dreams, expectations, you know, all these terms, when you're looking forward, when you're looking for change. And maybe, and as I said, we're using hope because I just found that so powerful this weekend. Hope meant a lot to me. I wonder if that hope is something people dismiss and say, oh, you're just hoping, mixing hoping with wishing, let me put it that way. You know, you say that's a wish, but that can't come true. But hope is so much deeper. It is definitely not a wish. It is a belief. You know, you believe that this would happen. You believe that there would be a change. So we have to look maybe at really look at hope in a different, for those who sitting back, look at hope in a different way, knowing that it ties in with faith. And if you have that faith, then yes, you would be guided as to what you can do. in reading in terms of not just the definition, but reading up certain, what's happening, the things that can be achieved when there is hope. And it is suggested also that, we say spread love, that you can spread that hope and within your community, within your family, by just sharing your dreams or sharing stories that how we go back in time. So we say we may think you hear especially the and I say the younger generation, but our children may be complaining how life is so hard. They have so many things to do, and this has gone up, and the salary is too low, and the cost of a house too high, etc. And we can share stories about how we we have gone through the hard times too, and this is how we got through it, through faith, through having hope, and maybe by sharing the stories like that, it would help that they may understand better what it is to be hopeful, what it is to have faith, um, what it is to share, and maybe in some situations that for you to achieve that result, you may have to come together with somebody. You can't be selfish, and do things together in order to achieve that, whatever it is, but to move forward. So, in cases, you may not just be shining the light on you alone, but on others who may be along the same path or who in that, as you say, that dark hole, to help them come out of it. So we can look at having hope and helping others along to have that hope. I know, Carrie Ann, sorry for smiling.
I think a step has to happen before, because I think fundamentally, even if you talk to young, old, everybody, and they start that story, I think the first thing is, all right, so what changes have you made to work towards that desire that you have? And very often, the answer is none. Very, very often. Even with young people, you want to achieve this or you want to achieve that. I talk to my children, they want this or they want that. We're fortunate that most of their needs could be met because they happen to have me and my husband as their parents. But there are things that they want that you can very easily give them. And sometimes you just have to sit down and say, so, well, how are you getting that? Sit down. What are you giving up to get that? And I think the first lesson before they go partnering with anybody, and this is everybody, this is young people, middle-aged people, old people, this is everybody. Before you go partnering with anybody, you really have to sit down and say, what changes have I made? I'll give a story this weekend. I'm going to use my favorite person, my relationship with my 92-year-old father. Okay? About this need to change. So he spent yesterday, after we sat and looked at the budget together. We're talking about the budget. And he started up his favorite conversation about all of his friends, the people he knew, his dad. He doesn't have people. His friends are not around. People like his friends are not around. And I look at him and I say, have you tried to make friends or get to know anybody who is there? And he just dismissed me. I said to him, I can't be a friend. I cannot be there all the time. And I identified he loves to play Scrabble and word games and so on. And I identified a group of 3 people. I said, why don't you just say to them one day, can we play Scrabble every Wednesday? And he looked at me, what do you mean? I say, why don't you say to them, can we play a game of Scrabble every Wednesday? Take a step, because you are now in a different circumstance. Most of your friends have died or they're not here. You want to be where you are. You are happy where you are, but you have to build a new social circle. But he is wanting that to be done for him. But making friends is something you have to do for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. And we went on this conversation for about 20 minutes until finally a light went on in his head. You know, I could do that. And I said, well, go ahead and do it. And, you know, he's looking at me like, as though, all right, Ariane, why you don't come and organize it for me? And I think that is the step between wishing and dreaming and belief and hope. If you are truly hopeful and you're not just wishing for something or dreaming about something, then you will see the change that you want and you will begin to take steps to get towards there. And once you begin to take steps, like-minded people will come, you'll draw things to you. And I think for many, many, many people of all kind of different ages, little children right up. Sometimes we're not building any capacity in our little children, doing everything for them. They can't do nothing for themselves. They can't fall down and learn to get up. Nobody is understanding or wanting to take a risk to go in a new direction. But if you are seeing something positive across there, that light, and you are waiting on someone else to join you to go there, then you're not dealing in hope, you're dealing in wishing or dreaming. You've got to take a step in a direction that is different, that is new, and might be scary or whatever it is. And that is why I say you have to be careful about what that light source is. Because if that light source is some influencer who doesn't care about you, or something that is just attractive, but isn't something that is deep, which I will call my God. If that light source is not coming from my God, I'm not following it. I'm not following it. Or I will call on his protection while I go tentatively to check it out. And I think many of us aren't willing to first of all decide I'm making a step or allowing ourselves to be vulnerable enough as we are in a faithful season to surrender to a higher power, a higher being, a godlike being, whether it is Jesus Christ or whatever it is, and move with that confidence. But if you don't know the source of that light that you see in the end of the darkness, you'll end up in a lot of trouble. And the worst thing you could do is not be sure of the light, but looking for somebody else to come with you or to do it for you. You know?
You know, that to me, to Terrian, is just not just lack of confidence in yourself, lack of self-confidence, but lack of faith. And in some cases, I mean, you may not agree with this. I tend to go down this road that I feel there are many people out there who need that little extra push, that little, you know, help to be empowered for persons to say something to them. I mean, you used your dad there as an example that I know him well. I don't see him to be a shy person. And I know if you I mean, I know you haven't done it and you're empowering on it. Eventually, he would do his thing. But in some situations, when you actually may have to set it up for them, especially if they share what they want to do. So this is the situation. Let's say this is the dark spot. This is the where I'm stuck. But I know what I want. I would really like to achieve this, but I'm stuck. And we can help try and shine that light by setting the tone, by doing something to just give them a little nudge to get started. And I believe they may have that faith and hope knowing that, okay, when I get that start, now I get it started, I am good. You know, I have that faith because somewhere along the line, maybe their faith wasn't strong enough. And I guess that's why people go to church and pray a lot and hope that your pastor, your priest, your pundit, whoever help you along to build that faith and to have hope.
I would add one thing to that. There are two types. I remember always in my work life, we used to talk about this. You have to know whether you're two type of people, whether you're a wheelbarrow or a marble. Okay? Now, how does a wheelbarrow move? Somebody had to push it. And if somebody stop pushing it, it stops right where you leave it. And it doesn't move again. But if you're a marble, you get a little momentum and you roll, you go along on your own momentum and you get to another place. You might end up where you want to end up, or you might get a stop, or you might get gravity and stuff like that. I'm talking about the wheelbarrows of the world. You know, at the end
My
of the
attitude will be like in the car stall, and you need a little push to get it going. And when
you must build momentum. You must build, and I agree with you, you know. But at the end of the day, the energy source must come from you. And for the point is that if you are in darkness, we are going into two festivals of light. We are going into Diwali, we're going into Christmas. And economically, the country is going through transition. So at the end of the day, we are all in a space where we know the next step is the next place is going to be different to the current place. It's going to be different, and we therefore have to do something different and be different. We should really, really not have as our preference being carried. I suppose that's the way I look at it. Being carried is not a hopeful position. Being supported is hopeful. Being assisted is hopeful. But being aware, deciding on a direction, an informed direction, informed by looking at all sides, not just one side. I think that is what is required, and it is throughout the Caribbean, it's throughout the world, it's throughout the world. Everything is divided, and you have side one and side two, black and white, A and B, left and right, and neither the two shall mix. And as they say, two opposite things cannot be equally true. They can't at the same time be true and related to the same. So you must know where you want to go and what is pulling you there. And once you make that decision, you begin moving. You begin moving in faith, you know. And
this is a beautiful quarter. This is a lot has been happening. So it is a Porter, that what we have to do is really, and I agree with you, you just change your mindset, I repeat that, and just have faith. So renew some faith. If you didn't have faith before, this is the time to do that. You know, whether, as you said, we celebrating, the Hindus celebrating the Diwali, the Catholic or the Christians celebrating Christmas. This is all about your belief, you having faith in your God, the higher being, and to decide, hey, it's a different time and we're moving in to a new year. And we said so last week, this is the time to make the changes.
Yeah.
And some of us don't want to, will just be left back. If we don't want to have hope in our future, you know, and not see a bright future, and not know that, hey, with faith, we're going to achieve, and we're moving forward with that, then Terry-Ann, well, those wheelbarrows will just stay there. We'll have plenty of wheelbarrows there. Yeah.
And you know, I just remembered that we know that after Diwali, we have Christmas, and Christmas runs straight into Carnival. And you know what started on Ash Wednesday? Ramadan.
You see?
So if we don't believe God talking to us, so while the Christians are going to go into Lent, the Muslims are going into Ramadan. Ash Wednesday, they start their period of fasting. So I truly believe that our future is very, very hopeful. But it's not the kind of hope that you can just, it's not wishful, and it's not a dream. It's hopeful. And again, I will use the most faithful people who worked and lived and acted in hope, coming out of my holy book, the Bible, all had to make big, big changes. If you talk about Abraham, if you talk about Ruth, you talk about any of the figures, any of the inspirational figures, you talk about Joseph, they were required to go through what seemed to be hell before they got to the promise that was the hope. But you have to make a decision to move, and move in faith. And you will get there. We'll be fine. I think we will be fine. But we have to take responsibility for ourselves. So that was our in tune session. And Jennifer, we have something else to talk about right after this. Okay. Jennifer, we told you all to save the dates. Do we remember what date we said to save? November 23rd, Sunday, November 23rd. Christmas is coming, Jennifer.
Yes, you know, we're planning. So November 23rd, we have decided, yes, this will be our Christmas brunch for our followers, for our tribe, 50 plus tribe, and their friends to come and join us and just celebrate. You see, we spoke about hope, we spoke about faith, we celebrating Christmas, we celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, not just celebrating it. This is how we celebrate. Of course, we're not in terms of you making sure you go to church and all the spiritual aspect of it, but this, we giving praise, yes, but we celebrating as we normally do, and we are having it in the form of a brunch, which will be convenient for every one of you all in terms of the time, so it wouldn't be too dark, so you could come out, you could come out during that hour, have brunch with us, and just enjoy yourself.
Great. So we are going back to our dear friends at the Cafe Blue, convenient. You could get there, you could walk, ride, drive, convenient, safe parking. You could come get a taxi, come up for the water taxi to the the terminal and take a taxi right up Ryson Road. Carl Jacobs and his staff, they're waiting. We know how wonderful the chef is. Their catering is great. So you have the bar with all the drinks and cocktails. It's going to be a dance party. So put on your dancing shoes and your dancing outfits. And we are going to celebrate Christmas in a great, great way. So you're going to be getting details of price and so on by next week. We'll have more information for you. But just save the date at the Cafe Blue. It's brunch from 11 and we finish around 5. So as Jennifer said, everybody is going to be able to get back home in one safe peace after having a great, great, great time. So don't forget the 23rd of November at the Cafe Blue restaurant. So Jennifer, that is something that I'm looking forward to, and I am more than hopeful. I am certain that that is going to be a great, great, great event. So put on your dancing shoes and get your Christmas dandan ready.
This is November, so we're not going into Christmas. We live in December, and I say not going into Christmas. We're not going into December. We live in December for you to do all the other preparations. So you're celebrating in end of November, 23rd of November.
Yes. After this, you can go and fix the curtains and paint and do all the housework and everything like that. But we're chilling out first. Okay. So, listen, we really hope that you all have a great week and special, special, special blessings to our Hindu friends who are going to be celebrating Diwali next Monday. And we really wish you all the blessings and joys of this season, the lights, the hope that the lights of the Diyas brings. And I hope I could find some curry shatta somewhere. Don't let me make it by myself now. Don't make it too good. So, Shubh Diwali to our Hindu brothers and sisters. So,
A blessed and great, great celebration. As Terrian say, I'll wait to be invited, Terrian. I'm not trying to cook anything. So I know I have a dear friend who listening to me, and I know I will get all the goodies on that day.
I find the economy you're getting less and less invitations. So how are you getting the bag of sweets? I can't get the plate up. I'm being ridiculous. But just some curry shatta, that's all. I'll prepare the white rice to eat it with, that's all. But truly, have a happy, and for everyone else, no matter what you're celebrating, where you're celebrating, be hopeful, be joyful. Things will be fine. We will make sure that it is. Yeah. Okay, so bye. Till next week. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.